So now, guys, I want to kick us off and get us started for increased service efficiency and boost profitability. I want to remind you that my name is Richard Coolian. I'm the Business Development Manager here at Autotask, and I get to work with thousands of our partners around the world. I just got back from the HP Global Partner Conference. Exciting experience. I get to spend a lot of time with partners out there, get to hear a lot of things on the road about what's going on around the country, around the world. And I once again want to thank Enable for joining us on this webinar. They co-sponsored today, and they're a great partner of ours. And we're going to talk about some things on how you can increase your service efficiency, and Enable is going to be a portion of that coming up. So, guys, what are we going to cover in this session? I'm going to do a brief Autotask overview of for those of you on the call that haven't heard of us before or are just coming back. Then we are going to go into increased service efficiency and boost your profitability. Then we will go into that Q&A session as I discussed, and I do have special offers for everyone from both Autotask and from Enable. So now let's kick it off, and let's start to think about your business. And these are some questions that we've really started to identify as being key performance indicators for your business, things that you should easily be able to identify to be successful. And so who is your most profitable client? It seems a pretty easy question to answer, but how quickly can you answer that question? Who is your most valuable technician? Not the person that's doing the best work to fix your customers' problems, but the person who is actually giving most back to the business. Because if someone's not actually capturing their time and billing correctly, they might be doing great for your customers, but they're not doing great by you. And what contracts and services are consistently generating you the highest margins? And we're going to show in a little bit how a system like Autotask and just by demonstrating and understanding what your service offerings are and what actual contracts you have in place, you're going to be able to identify, is that a contract type that you should be offering to these clients, because is it making you money or is it losing you money? Are your projects really profitable? Are you actually tracking how much time each part of a project is taking you, each expense in that project? How much time is it taking to actually complete the project? And that's something that you're going to be able to see in a bit. Which of your clients are at risk? I know we spend a ton of money in any business trying to actually bring on new clients. So let's make sure that once we have these clients that we're servicing them correctly, servicing them efficiently, all on the same page, and make sure that we're not going to lose these clients. And are there enough deals in the pipeline? I mean, anything, your bloodline in your business is revenue coming in. It's that cash flow that you have. And if you're not growing, I know there's a lot of people out there that I've met that they're comfortable with the size they are, but when the size you are with attrition, you're going to eventually be down to nothing. So you got to make sure that you keep bringing in some new business. And are you operating as efficiently as possible? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of inefficiencies in many businesses that we can help out with. And you start to how easily can you actually recognize where your inefficiencies are? So some major hurdles to actually managing your growth. Critical data is locked up in multiple applications. And when your critical data is in multiple applications, you end up looking at 2 or more applications just to get one answer, and that's never efficient. You have difficulty tracking your time and expenses. All of a sudden, it's not the same system for everyone. One person does it right, one person doesn't. You really need to standardize on some of these processes here that are going to help you grow and grow quickly. Service issues are going to fall through the cracks. When you have a system that's I've seen a lot of people using spreadsheets, using their Outlook inbox, using all these different places to try and piece together a solution that isn't really efficient and doesn't have processes in place that everyone can follow. So all of a sudden now, I'll use it for an example, is that I was just flying home from a conference I was flying home through Southwest, and I asked for help with getting my bags because my bags have been lost, and now all of a sudden one service guy passed me off to the next, and they didn't have any communication in between, so they didn't know how to help me. And all that did was left me there to stare at them, get more upset and more frustrated, when if they had a system in place to say, yes, I'm going to help you on this time, you're going to get helped here, and my expectations were met, then all of a sudden I'm happy. So let's make sure that no service issues are falling through the cracks, because nothing is worse than feeling like you didn't get what you paid for. And clients don't appreciate your value. They only see you and only think about you when their computers are down, when their systems aren't working. So if they don't understand how much you're doing to make sure that you keep them up for the rest of the 99% of the time, then it's going to be difficult to to justify the bill that they pay you every month. And your workload could be across resources unbalanced, and this is going to lead for some inefficiencies in just scheduling out so your clients can get serviced. But it's also going to maybe lead to some internal strife with your actual employees, because maybe one person's doing way more than the other. But if you can't see that and you only see the brown noser who's out there and he's kissing up, but you don't actually understand who's doing what work, it really is going to lead to some internal fighting potentially. And I've seen that in many companies I've been to and spoken with, is that the person who's doing all the work doesn't necessarily get the credit, and sometimes that's going to lead to some fighting there. Some more major hurdles is there's no effective way to track response times against SLAs. And if you're out there delivering on service level agreements, you got to make sure that you have an automated system to actually track on these things, because otherwise you end up having more work for yourself just to track against these things. And SLAs are something that we'll talk about in a bit, but they're really something that's going to differentiate you against some of the other competitors in your market. And differentiating yourself is going to be a hard task, especially with people who are not as technological, or some decision makers who are just going to view you as a regular run-of-the-mill IT guy. They're not going to recognize that you're putting in expectations that they can deliver on, make their business more predictable, because they'll understand I'm going to get a response and my systems are going to be back up and running, or at least I'm going to have a resolution in place by this amount of time. So it helps them predict on their days, helps you sell, because that's a key selling point for you. Now, you're going to have limited visibility into project tasks and deadlines if you have all these systems locked up in different places. And with your projects, it's something that you really need to be on top of and notice that, all right, this project's going to take me 10 steps to do. I've done it 10 times. But if you're doing it through Outlook and you're doing it through different things, you're not going to have it in one centralized place where a project manager, as well as the employees that are actually doing it, are making sure that the project's actually on time and in place. Your billing is disconnected and takes too long. And, with this, it's just, your system that's actually capturing your time and doing all the work and making sure your service desk and working your CRM together is not actually connected up with the system that's going to bill and invoice them. So when these systems have one step in between them or two steps in between them, now all of a sudden you get a few days behind, or maybe it's a week behind, and then your money's not coming in as fast because you can't put out a 30-day bill on something that you don't actually have out. So any day you lose there is money out of your pocket. It's impossible to get real-time profitability metrics, and this goes back to having data locked up in multiple applications. When you look into multiple applications to get one answer, that's never an easy thing for you to do. It might be a bottleneck for your business. And when you can't have those profitability metrics and that real-time metrics, you can't make fact-based decisions about your business. And the key in any business is going to be to take as much as you can find out quickly and efficiently and make decisions off of that. And I know that a lot of people will maybe get hung up on paralysis by analysis when you have too much information. But guys, too little information is way more harmful than too much. And if you have a lack of a true sales methodology, and that's something that one person calls on people all the time and captures everything that they did so they can make a prediction. All right, I have to make 30 sales calls today because if I make 30 sales calls, I'm more than likely going to get one demo or one appointment. If you have a system in place that's going to help you capture that, a strong CRM system, then all of a sudden now you can really start to have some predictability in your business. So guys, who is Autotask? And Autotask is the world's #1 provider of cloud-based IT business management software, born and built in the cloud since 2001, and really tailored towards the technology services market. And what we're focused on is services automation. And with services automation, we mean that we're trying to free up as much time as possible so that you're not doing processes and taking time to do anything other than when all possible, spending your time and your most valuable resource, which is your time, towards billable actions. So we have a CRM for sales and marketing, and that's going to be connected up with your project management, service desk, time and expense, contracts, and billing. All of these systems are hosted in one solution. So at this point, all of your systems are talking to each other, and then you're not having any inefficiencies. As soon as you actually close a deal with our CRM, with your sales and marketing team, then all of a sudden maybe you're closing a deal on a one-time project, so you're using project management. Maybe you get them into recurring services and some managed services with something like Enable, and now you're using our service desk. Time and expense, because of course as soon as you do that work, you want to have it put in. You want to put in that time. You want to attach maybe some expenses to that specific account. And then so you did all the work, you service the client, you put in your time, And now we get down to the contracts and billing. And it's all about making it so that you can work efficiently with your network. And your network's not just your LinkedIn connections, it's not just your Facebook friends. Your network is actually the people that mean something to you in your business. So I know a lot of our customers are doing ticket sharing, so you can do that through Autotask. They're